Once again, a rich natural ecosystem had been devastated with nothing to show for it. The early 1900s, however, marked the dawning of the American conservation movement and a changing attitude toward the value of wild places. In the 1920s, the Isaac Walton League of America, a group with strong roots in the Midwest, launched a high-profile crusade to reclaim Horicon Marsh. Led by Lewis Curley Radke, the League and other conservationists gathered more than 100,000 signatures on a petition to build a dam to restore the marsh. The state legislature responded in 1927, approving funds for a new dam to restore the marsh's water level and for initial land purchases. Hunter-supported funds from the federal government provided the money to purchase the remainder of the marsh. In 1941, Horicon National Wildlife Refuge was established and is managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The southern one-third is managed by the State Department of Natural Resources. Although it looks pristine, Horicon Marsh still bears the scars of past efforts to exploit it. And today, refuge staff devote much of their time to improving the marsh's wildlife habitat. Staff manipulate water levels to provide a variety of wetland conditions which benefit many birds. One big threat to wetland health is posed by purple loosestrife. European settlers brought this plant to the U.S. in the 1800s. This fast-growing plant chokes out native plants that wildlife rely on for food and shelter. To keep loosestrife in check, refuge staff have released populations of one of the plant's natural enemies, a European leaf-eating beetle. The beetles feed exclusively on loosestrife and keep it in check. Like loosestrife, carp are not desirable or welcome on Horicon National Wildlife Refuge. Carp were introduced by European immigrants in the late 1800s and are a problem because they uproot plants and stir up mud. The muddy waters create a poor environment for game fish and reduce the growth of the underwater plants that fuel the marsh food chain. Refuge staff work to reduce carp populations in many ways. Staff also conduct prescribed burns to improve wildlife habitat. The prairie grasses provide food and cover to many wildlife species. All of these management activities help make the refuge a better place for wildlife and people. Horicon National Wildlife Refuge is part of the National Wildlife Refuge System managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This system includes more than 535 national wildlife refuges across the country and spans over 94 million acres of land. The system was established in 1903 to provide a haven for America's wildlife. America's refuge system is the only network of federal lands specifically dedicated to wildlife and habitat conservation. While refuges are for wildlife first, there are many opportunities for people to enjoy the area's sights and sounds. More than 35 million people visit America's refuge system each year, and about 500,000 visit Horicon National Wildlife Refuge. Horicon Marsh is not only a local treasure, but also a wetland of international importance and a globally important bird area.